Well, good afternoon and welcome back to the YouTube channel of Old Bloke Crypto on May the 14th, 2024, as we get ready for some exciting times in the world of ETH and, in fact, the entire crypto market. As I say here, that squeeze that's coming, it's getting tighter and tighter already, and we've got less than 36 hours before we see a major breakout. I'll go through the numbers, the stats, to show you that why that's going to happen and why, if you're going to take a position, you either want to already be positioned or you want to hurry up and take one. Otherwise, get ready to sit on the sidelines and see what happens. So I'll get stuck in right now. Before I do, please hit the like and subscribe buttons on the channel and the notification bell to be notified of future videos. You might remember how I talked in the previous video about these liquidity bands getting tighter and tighter and how there was a breakout coming. Well, we have a little bit of a breakout here. You would think it was a breakout, but it's a breakout you have when you're not really having a breakout. And you see these liquidity bubbles, that give the indication here. And you see this size 3 liquidity bubble here. Now, liquidations were taken to a point, then price stopped and reversed back to the upside. And you've got lesser liquidations to the upside. When you see real liquidation and exit trigger, you'll see 2 of these in a row. That's on the hourly chart. And that's pretty reliable, 80% plus of the time, I find. That's for Ethereum anyway, which I back tested, in which I mostly trade. So you'll see here there was a definite bottoming out here, and then prices slowly crawled its way back up. But there hasn't been a lot of liquidity to take in these levels here at the time that price hit them compared to what the liquidity is now. So the market makers are playing some games, and I'll just show you just how big a size games they're playing. Before I do, I'll just refer to the major indices in TradFi again, and there's a lot of sideways. Just like I was talking about in the last video, the VIX is perhaps the most changed out. It's become quite a bit more volatile, but not as volatile as we've seen in other times. And you see the different indices here, they're just equivocating really. So again, a lot of sidewaysness waiting for the upcoming PPI and CPI within the next 36 hours. And just on a side note, before I get right into the funding rates, I tweeted about this morning, and ETH funding rates were 6 times that of Bitcoin, which is really unusual. So it was about 12% to about 2%. And as I said in here, the most logical explanation is the speculation around the upcoming ETH ETF decisions. So that was about 8 hours ago. Let's see where the funding rates are now. So remember, ETH was about 12% and BTC was about 2%. Now let's have a look. Let's see where ETH is. 8%, it's come down quite a bit, and look at Bitcoin, 13%. That is saying that there is a lot of positions being taken in advance of PPI and CPI coming in the next 36, even less than that, probably the next 30 hours now by the time I publish this video. And you'll see that is the, on the derivatives side of things, the positions are being taken in BTC, and they had been taken in Ethereum earlier today or before the last 4 hours or so. So really, Bitcoin's really catching up there. So a lot of money's coming into the leverage market. Now let's have a look and see what else is going. Just as an aside, and this is in Australian time, of course, at 10:30 tonight, we've got the PPI coming out, and CPI tends to grab the headlines a lot more, but the PPI is still very important and the market pays attention to it. So within 24 hours, we've got that happening, and Uncle Jerry is speaking in the middle of all of that. He's going to have a crack and give his opinion. No doubt he'll be asked about interest rates as well. So we've got a lot happening in this next really 30 hours we're coming up to now. So this is why positions are being taken. A lot of money's coming in. People are saying, really, it's quite interesting how much is on both sides of the market. There's certainly, the market's not definitely trending one way or the other. I'll tell you what, these figures miss to the upside or to the downside, both the PPI here and the CPI here. By golly, there's going to be some fireworks. If you don't believe me, let's have a look at the liquidations. We've got around about $100 or so to the upside, $4 billion, about $100 or so to the downside. We have here, where are you? About $100, yes. Another $4 billion. Now, this is just on Binance alone. This is getting really intense now. There is so much money coming in, and someone's going to get wrecked. But I've seen this happen before, where you'll get the ping pong effect, like I've said to you in the previous video, where price will, for example, it'll quickly spike up and take this liquidity band, and then it'll spike back down and take this liquidity out as well. Pure manipulation, or it could come back down and then quickly reverse to the upside. So I won't be surprised if it does that. However, if those numbers that I was just referring to, if they really miss, for example, say this PPI was 0.1, for example, and the CPI on month was 0.2, for example, you're going to see the market go off like a rocket. And you're going to see this band getting taken out and moving on to the upside. And look at all these other big ends as well. You're going to get targeted very, very quickly. There's going to be a lot of liquidations. And conversely, the same as well. If we had a big miss to the upside in those figures, then this is going to just drop right down and take a lot less liquidity back down. And how far can we go either side? Well, let's have a look. You hear me banging on about it all the time, but it's the charts are the charts, and they're telling the story. So we've got this temporary range happening here. And when I say temporary, what's the reason for it? CPI and PPI coming up. And so we're going to certainly do one of two things. We're either going to break out to this range to the downside if we miss those numbers to the high side, PPI, CPI, or we're going to attack this temporary range high at 33.63. It's going to happen pretty darn quickly. So as I was saying in the intro, if you haven't already taken the position, the time's running out to do so, really. And if you have taken the position, it's time to sit back and watch to see what happens. So certainly the PPI is going to be interesting tonight, but CPI also tomorrow. Now, as I've been saying for a while, I've been DCAing into ETH in the long position, and the lowest that I've so far taken is about 28.30. That's the lowest I've been able to get. If it does go below this range low, if, for example, there is a big breakout to the downside, I'm just going to watch it and see how price unfolds in the next day or two. But I don't necessarily jump in and try and catch a knife, as the saying goes, if it blows through this low. Similarly, if it goes through and it attacks or goes through the range high, I'm going to be looking for my indicators, my exit indicators to trigger to say thank you very much on the low time frame, and take low time frame trade out whilst keeping the high time frame trade intact. And also to watch out to the downside, this is the ETH BTC chart. You'll see it's broken through that on the daily, that high time frame range bottom 0.050, and we are potentially creating a temporary range here. But you see these lows here that on 2 days in a row, price trade to break below, further to the downside, and was brought up. Now, if we get a breakdown of price and it goes through this level, continues on to the downside, and comes up and retests without going back through it, definitely the shorters are going to be in control. The bears are going to be jumping for joy, that's for sure. We'll be well and truly out of hibernation. So I would be very careful placing any further longs at this particular point. However, if again we touch that, or we just go from where we are now and we come back up and enter this high time frame range, then it's certainly be considering adding to your ETH position. Now, remember, this is ETH BTC. I trade ETH USDT. You do you, as I often say. If you want to trade this pair, go for it. Personally, I trade the ETH USDT pair. And so just to get back to this, to the chart, liquidations chart, as a final reminder, it's coming. We're going to have one or both of these levels are going to get attacked in the next 30 hours. Very interesting to see what happens, basically based on the data. Miss to the downside, CPI, PPI, the market's going to go up and take these levels. We miss to the high side, market's going to come down and take out these levels, billions and billions of dollars worth of liquidations. So let's see what happens. It'll be very interesting over the next 30 hours. Stay safe with your trading, trade within your means, and I will talk to you next time.